Welcome everyone. In today's sketch lesson, we'll strengthen your drawing fundamentals with a step-by-step tutorial on how to draw Pennywise. For this lesson, you'll need a sketch pad and a pencil. I'll start today's lesson with this 0.7mm mechanical pencil with a 2B lead. It gives a nice balance between soft shading and crisp line control, but any pencil you have will work just fine. Now the first thing we're going to do is set up our drawing with a series of guidelines. Let's start with one coming down the center of our page. We're going to start at the very top of the middle. Just going to lightly work our way down the center, pulling the pencil towards us using these short lines. Now along the top, we're going to add another line going across from left to right. Now we're going to use these two lines to help us create a large circle along the top of our page to define the size of the skull. So from that center point, we're going to move up towards the top. Just going to mark this off. And we'll measure that same distance from the center down towards the bottom and do the same thing. Let's repeat that across this horizontal line. So measure the distance from the center over towards the left and then the right side. Now I want to connect the center point of each mark with a curve to create our circle. So we'll start at the top left and just work our way around. And the circle doesn't have to be perfect. We're just using this as a guide, and we can always come back and smooth this out later. Let's add another line going across the bottom of our circle from left to right. And I'll add another set of lines coming down the side of our circle. And this will help us align the jawline. Now with our guidelines in place, we're going to start blocking out the main facial features. Let's start by adding a gap in between the eyes. So from that center point, let's move over toward the left to right about here. Just going to mark this off. Let's measure that distance over towards the right and do the same thing. Now I want to connect the left side of our circle to this point with a straight angle line for the brow. Let's move up along this line, draw a straight line going out across the top of the eyelid. And then the eye is just going to curve across the bottom of our circle and then come in. From the center, we're going to move down to right about here, draw a straight line going across the nose. Now let's draw a half circle, coming down and then up. Let's move down again, just going to mark off the top of the mouth. Now we're going to line up the outside corner of the mouth with the outside of the eyes. So from the outside, we're going to come straight down, a light line to right about there. Now we're going to step in. We want to curve the bottom of the mouth, coming in and then down. And we'll round this out. Let's add some thickness to the lower lip, coming down lower in the middle and then back up. And then we'll come down again and just mark off the chin with a straight line. Now we're going to add some shape to the head. Let's start from the side of our circle. We're going to draw a straight angle line coming down and in just on the outside of the corner of the mouth. And then from here, bend this in and then down towards the chin. Let's go all the way up towards the top. We're going to draw a half circle for the edge of the hair. I'm just going to swirl the hair across the top. Starting from the left side, bend this up and out and curl that up towards a point. Bend this around the right side. Now let's draw the side of the hair. Starting on the left, just going to add a guideline going out and then down. Line it up on the right. And we're just going to bend this out and up towards the tip. Let's bend this down at an angle and bring that in towards the side of the head, towards that eye line. Now around the base of the head, we're going to add a curve for the collar, going all the way around the jaw, go down underneath the chin, and then back up on the right side. Now that we have our rough sketch in place, I want to go back and clean this up by erasing some of these guidelines. And once we finish cleaning up our drawing, I'm going to go back and use this rough sketch as a guide to help us layer on some more details and refine the shapes. Now I always like to start back at the eyes. We're going to start with the inside edge of the brow. It's going to add some shape to that curve coming in and then back out. And we're just going to mirror this over on the right side. Now this is still a light sketch. We're not going too dark yet. This will leave us room to make some corrections and adjustments if we need to. So in the center, we're just going to add a fold. Some wrinkles coming down across the bridge of the nose. Now let's work our way across this line. Across the brow, just giving a slight bend, going out. Now I'm just going to curl the eyebrow, coming down the side. Let's add that point across the top, going up and then back down. Now we're going to go in and just add a little bit of shape to the eyelid. And then the bottom of the eye coming down and then in. We're going to add that fold underneath the eyes. Just going to add some wrinkles along the outside. Now I want to tuck the pupil and iris underneath the eyelids. So starting on the top left, come down and then up underneath the brow. And then the eye on the right is going to be pushed out a little bit towards the outside. Just add the pupil and just darken that up in the center. Now we're going to move down and add some shape to the nose. So just going to work within this bounding area. I'm going to give it a slight bend across the middle. And up along the nostrils. And bend that down and towards the center. Just going to bend the top of the mouth. Add a little bit of a lip and just fill that in. Now underneath the eyes, there's a little detail that comes out and then curve that back in towards the corners of the mouth. Just going to trace it on the outside. I'm just going to roughly shade that in. Now let's add those large teeth in the center. Add the tongue. And that large lower lip. Now with the side of the head, we just want to push this in toward the temples. Just going to round out the jaw and the cheeks. And this in towards the chin. Now we're just going to add some rough texture to the hair. It's going to brush this across the base, the hairline, and then just work our way up towards the top. And then just add those hairs going out from the side of the head. And we're just working with the flow of the hair. So it starts on the side of the head, come down and up towards that point. Then again, just adding some of that texture coming in. Now from the head, we're going to add those pleats going across the collar. So we're just going to pull these lines, just angling them out, sort of aiming towards the center of the face. And then on the ends, we're just going to scribble this line. Just going to ruffle this up. Just add a couple layers going around. And we don't need to get too detailed with the body or the collar. And we're going to do one final cleanup before we add some more detail and shading. Now I'm going to switch to my thicker pencil. This is my 0.9mm. I'm going to add some contrast. I'm going to start back at the eyes, just going back over the steps. Just adding some contrast. We can also add some more detail if we want to. I'm just enhancing the brow with a few more lines across the top. I want to darken up the side of the nose, and I'll fade that in towards the center to create a bit of a highlight. Also going to darken up the bottom. Darken up the lip across the top and then fade that down. And again, we're just going to add a highlight across the center of the mouth. Also going to darken up the bottom to give it a little bit more shape. And then we're just going to darken out the base of the hair. Just pull some of that texture going up and across. And then from the tip, we're just going to work our way down. Now with this method, we create this little highlight in the center of the hair. Now once we finish tracing out all our contours, I'm going to add some shading. So along the bottom of the eye, it's going to add a little bit of a coarse shadow. Now this is where the light hits the bottom and reflects up, and have a little bit of light reflecting off the top. So it's going to enhance the cheeks going around, and then up and towards the nose bridge. Bring some of that shadow coming down. Also going to add a little bit of shadow just underneath the eyelid and inside the eye. And we'll do the same thing on the right. This is also going to cast a shadow coming down towards the mouth. Add some more cracks and wrinkles across the face. Now I'm going to move to the side edge my 2mm pencil and just soften up that texture inside the hair. Starting from the base and just working our way up. And we're just going to brush this out. We also add a little bit of a heavier shadow across the bottom of the hair. And then the head's going to cast a shadow across the collar. I'm still going to work with these lines, so adding a heavier shadow in the center, and then fading that out. Now, as we get near the end of our drawing, I'm just going to tighten up my shadows and details, and always be sure to sign my artwork. And there's a sketch illustration of Pennywise from It. If you found today's lesson helpful, give it a like and share it with someone else who's also learning how to draw. You can find more step-by-step lessons in the full sketch course playlist link below, or explore other topics across this channel. I want to thank you for joining me today. Keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next one.